You're watching PIX on Politics.
And welcome back to PIX on Politics. We are coming off a very busy week in New York City politics, right? I want to get to our panelists joining us this week. PIX 11 political reporter Henry Rosoff back with us, political commentator Tara Dowdell, and political reporter for City and State Jeff Coltin. I'm looking forward to having this panel each and every week. And let's get right to it, everybody. First, ranked choice voting election in New York City. Let me get your take on how did it go. We just heard from Henry on the logistics of it all. Jeff, what'd you think?
Look, this was one of, from what I saw, the smoothest election days in modern memory, really. I didn't hear many complaints. The lines were not long in many places. And from what I heard from, immediate reaction is that most people were pretty smooth with RCV. They were able to, check all the boxes or circle in all the bubbles. And overall, so far, I'm impressed.
Tara, it comes down to voter turnout, the big number in New York. We have millions of people living here, hundreds of thousands voted.
Yes, and that's an ongoing issue, and there are a lot of issues, a lot of reasons for that. But I will say about ranked choice voting, even Maya Wiley, even though she didn't in the first round didn't come in first, her campaign is even praising the system. So that's a really good sign for it. And talk about voter turnout, to your point, is even lower in a runoff election, and we expend a lot of resources on runoff elections. So I think ranked choice voting has accomplished so far what it was set out to accomplish.
So right now, Eric Adams in the lead. A lot of ranked choice votes are planned to go to Catherine Garcia, Maya Wiley. They're saying the math is there for them to win, Henry. What are your thoughts on this?
The math is certainly there. The history is not on their side. If you get over 10% of that first count, again, we don't have absentee ballots, then no one's ever come back from that deficit around the country. If it's over 5%, it's very unlikely. And you're also counting on the fact that voters do exactly what Andrew Yang and Catherine Garcia told them to do, to rank one another 1-2, essentially. Well, Richie Torres, who chaired Yang's campaign, for instance, said he was ranking Adams number 2. So it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, 124 elections in the U.S., about 3 of them only when the second or third place winner was able to overtake the first. But Catherine Garcia and Maya Wiley say it can happen. You've been on the front lines, Jeff. What are they saying?
Both are saying that they're really leaning on the math. They're saying, yes, it's technically possible. And in fact, they are probably being a little too confident. As we said, the numbers are not quite on their side. And look, I've looked at the polling, and the polling which got it correct that, Adams would win, suggests that Adams also does pretty well with the 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s that will help him stay in. So, yes, Garcia and Wiley will probably make up a little bit of ground, closing that 9.5 percentage point gap between Adams and Wiley and the 12 percentage point gap between Adams and Garcia. I expect that to be smaller at the end, but not enough for Adams to not win.
And that's why Adams is very confident, saying, look, I'm the new face of the Democratic Party. Tara, let me get your take right now on Curtis Sliwa, the GOP nominee. You just heard some of that interview that I had with him on the streets right outside of our studios. He is confident that because he's a GOP also running on the independent line, that he can pull this off.
Well, here's the big problem for Curtis Sliwa, and there are lots of problems, but here's the big problem. He staked his whole campaign on public, but he's likely going to be running against someone who was actually a member of law enforcement. That's a huge problem. Also, he has a checkered past. He's been arrested, 77 times? Many of those have been publicity stunts, but he's essentially was an internet troll before there were internet trolls. So he's going to have trouble being taken seriously. And last but not least, he admitted to staging his own kidnapping. So I think I'm probably being generous by saying checkered past. So if you're the Democratic nominee, whoever that ends up being, you're going to unload all of that on him.
Former cop, somebody who says that he would have wanted to be a cop or something like that on the subways. Real quick, the other big headline, Henry, you get the last word here. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani suspended from practicing law in New York City because of comments he made about the 2020 election. Do you think there's going to be more fallout? A lot of people suspected this might have happened at some point.
Yes. In short, yes. I mean, you already know the federal prosecutors are looking at this. His son, who is running for governor on the Republican side, Andrew Giuliani, has been very outspoken about the search and seizure of some of Rudy Giuliani's computers and documents. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Question of whether or not it hurts Curtis Sliwa to the extent that he had a chance, because Giuliani's a big backer of his.
Exactly. All three of you, thank you for being here for our first PIX panel. Appreciate many more to come in the weeks ahead.